Welcome to another RSR. Tonight I'm reviewing Seattle Sounders FC 4, Minnesota United FC 2, MLS 2025, Western Conference Quarterfinals Game 2. Seattle pushes this to a Game 3, 5 Game 3s this weekend in MLS with 3 sweeps this round. 5 teams, 10 teams play, 5 will advance. 3 in the East, 2 in the West of Game 3s. We know Vancouver LAFC will be a conference semi. The 2 teams who win in the West conference semi-wise, or conference quarterfinal-wise, will play each other in the conference semi. The team playing Philly, we're going to find out who that is. And then, of course, the other conference semifinal in the East. With that being said, 5 Game 3s next weekend, which is good considering this upcoming weekend, which is good considering I've did a lot of World Series coverage. So, good. Most Game 3s we've ever had in MLS history during this format. With that being said, Seattle did enough to push through. I think they were the better team for most of the regular first half. Stoppage time, they fell apart, fell asleep and fell apart. Minnesota gained the momentum, but Seattle slowed up the game and made sure that Minnesota really couldn't throw any more punches as the second half went. They got a late goal and put this game away overall. So sometimes you just got to get it going, and they did. Seattle Sounders FC 4, Minnesota United FC 2 en la MLS Oeste Conferencia. Cuartos de final, partido 2, Seattle empate la serie 1-1. Seattle partido 3 en la Minnesota. Goals were scored as follows. Obed Vargas scored the 8th minute. Ball crossed over through the corner. Ends up at the top of the box. Obed takes a shot, slots it home past Dane St. Clair. 1-0, 1-0. 21st minute, Jordan Morris puts the ball away. Header by Ferreira. Falls to Morris. Morris taps it in. 2-0, 2-0. Denny Musovski scores. Ball lobbed to him. Open net pretty much. Slots it home. 41st minute. 3-0, 3-0. Then, 45 plus 1, Nectarios Triantis scores a goal, 45 plus 1, to make it 3-1. Cuts into the box. Robin Lod plays it to him. He cuts into the box, basically takes the ball right off him, takes the shot, beats Fry, 3-1, 3-1. 45 plus 5, Robin Lod scores the goal. And he gets the ball in the box, slots it past Fry, near side, 3-2, 3-2. Halftime, 3-2, 3-2, medio tiempo. Minnesota, when Seattle fell apart and fell asleep late on the first half, Minnesota made them pay. They stole the momentum all the way around. And you gotta say, that sucks. Because a 3-0 lead should be game over. But unlike Austin last night, Minnesota fought back. Now, the good news is Minnesota, if they won, they would have swept, and they would have got rid of Seattle. But it was in Seattle's house. But the punch back that Minnesota had there while being down 3-0 to score 2 goals in stoppage time, pretty good. That was pretty good. Even though Seattle was the better team throughout the first 45, the stoppage time, it was all Minnesota. And I thought they might have scored a third. They got close to tying the game. Frankly, I think they might have should have. But the good news is there's a halftime, and Seattle used that to slow the tempo. Because, yes, Minnesota had the momentum at the half, but Seattle came out and slowed the game down. They defended very well in the second half. And they slowed the game down. They held as much possession as they could. They slowly played the ball forward and just slowly worked the game to their favor. And in the end, if you are a Seattle fan, should be very proud of the fight and hold they had. Because for 45 minutes, they held the 3-2 lead. Didn't really look dangerous against them. After giving up all that momentum, it didn't look like a dangerous lead for them to hold. They controlled the game through the last 45 And then in the end, 85th minute, Obed Vargas scores. Ball crossed into the box. Of course, Leva had it, played it forward, crossed into the box. Obed Vargas takes the shot just past the hand of Dane St. Clair. 85th minute, 4-2, 4-2. Full time, 4-2, 4-2. Series tied 1-1. Serie empate 1-1. Full-time stats are as follows. 11 shots to 8. 6 shots on goal to 4. 60% possession to 40% possession. 563 pass to 381. 85% pass accuracy to 79% pass accuracy. 10 fouls to 13. 1 offside to 0. 1 yellow card, 2. 0 red cards, 0. 3 corners to 2. Seattle Sounders get the win, and they hold on for dear life. They hold on for dear life. And frankly, I think the second half, again, was a very strong performance by Seattle to control the tempo, control the flow of the game, and control the win. And then they got the late goal, and then that was game over from there. Minnesota shocked me. Gaining that momentum, it's crazy how easily it seemed that Seattle shut them down throughout the final 45. You would think after you get momentum like that you would just, You would score the third goal and tie the game and win it and sweep them. But they did not do that. Minnesota didn't come out well. They didn't play the second half well compared to the halftime stoppage time they had. They had a really good 8 minutes, and that made this game look closer than it was. I think Seattle, once they got punched in the mouth, they're like, no, we can't let them keep punching us in the mouth. We got to wake up. And they did. They got a little bit too cocky, I think. I think Seattle got a little bit too cocky at their own house. Minnesota's been very good against the Sounders throughout the year. Until now, this was their first loss to the Sounders all year. I think Seattle underestimated Minnesota once they were up as high as they were. And that's where we were, really. I think the man of the match for me is Obed Vargas. 2 goals. You give him that. Good job for him. And Seattle did their job in the end. Was it ugly at times? Yes, but sometimes that's what football is. Sometimes it gets ugly, and sometimes it just isn't what you think it is. So you do what you got to do there, but I think Seattle did their job more times than not. But that halftime stoppage time was ugly. Absolutely ugly. But that was the only time you saw Minnesota be Minnesota, per se. Seattle dominated this match and then dominated the run of play as the other rest of the game went. With that being said, there you go. If you like this stream, like it, share, subscribe. You know what it is. Tell your friends. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell notification once subscribed. Send some chats on the live streams. Comment on this video. Put this in playlist. Share with friends and family. All that great stuff. I will see you Wednesday for a live watch along and review of Mount Pleasant versus Defense Force Caribbean Cup, and that would be the last stream in this room and last review. One more time. I don't know if you'll see the new studio by Thursday, but it will be in the new place at least. But with that being said, one more time in this room, and then we push on. It's sort of nostalgic, sort of bittersweet. With that being said, Seattle got the win and we move. I'll see you later. I'm Ryan and I'm out. Peace. See you.